Alright, listen up, boys. There are a lot of things in life that absolutely blow my noggin, throw me for a loop, and just confuse the absolute shit out of me. And the Edge of Fate is one of those things. Because, unlike some normal task you do every day, like getting a bowl of cereal that you've been doing for years and years and years, Edge of Fate just takes everything you knew and throws it out the window. Now you gotta start putting the cereal in one by one. You gotta mix it with some water, take a spoon out, stir that thing, and then eat it with a fork. You gotta do so much weird shit. And what I'm referring to is this new armor system, where we're gonna have these weapon stats, these damage bonuses, this and that, and it is just one of the most confusing things I have had to learn about in the last couple of weeks. And my information, it's mostly should be pretty accurate in this video, but if I miss like one or two things, I do apologize for that, boys. It is so much information to take in, and coming off a break, it's very cooked. But with that being said, the main thing we're going to be discussing in today's video is the 6% damage buff coming to PvP in the Edge of Fate. Now, for those of you who don't know about the 6% damage buff, it comes from the weapon stat. When you max it out, you get a 6% bonus. And no, I'm not pulling that out of my ass. It was from a TWAB right here. I'm going to put it on the screen. So you can't say I'm lying. You can't say anything like that. Now, the only caveat to this is that Bungie said throughout the first month, they're going to kind of, let it run wild and see how it goes. So this very well could get disabled pretty quick. We're not going to know until Bungie, goes ahead and makes that decision. However, what we do know, though, is a lot of weapons are going to get way better. And I'm not even talking about the weapons that are already good, like 120 hand cannons and things like that. I'm talking about things like 180 RPM hand cannons. Because that 6% buff, it may not seem like a lot, but when you slap that on a precision instrument 180 RPM hand cannon, you are now 3-tapping every refill in the game. And I don't know if you guys can already kind of see how that's problematic. That is a 0.67 TTK, which is literally OG not forgotten, which Bungie nerfed in the first place for a reason. I had a 0.67 TTK from anywhere on the map, maybe not anywhere on the map, but it was some pretty crazy range. Obviously, these 180s won't be that level of good, but they're gonna have the same TTK. They're gonna have a lot of range to operate, and it is going to be very miserable to play Crucible for about a month. I'm just going to be completely honest with you guys. It is not going to be a fun experience, especially when you consider the fact that a lot of weapons that got nerfed pretty recently are basically going to be back to how they were pre-nerf. A good example of these are the high impact or the 340 pulses, whatever you want to call those. They got nerfed to the point where now they have to 6 crit to get a kill. If you load up PvP right now, that's how it's going to be, whereas it used to be a 5 crit 1 body. Well, guess what? With that 6% buff, what do y'all think is going to happen? 5 crit 1 body. 5 crit 1 body, it's going to be back just like that. So everything Bungie was trying to nerf and fix is going to be a problem again, just like that. Now, I know that is kind of an extreme example, and high impacts, they're still good in their current state anyway, even with, requiring all crits. But that 5 crit 1 body was very devastating, especially on things like No Time to Explain, or even Red Death when it first came back. Now the gun's kind of bad because they changed it up a little bit, but you guys know what I mean. Those things are devastating. Now, I promise I'm not trying to overly complain or anything like that. In fact, I don't think I'm complaining at all, but y'all know how the Destiny community is. You say anything and they cry, it's a PvE game. It's a PvE game. Just go somewhere else, man. PvP is ass anyway. But like, if you're one of those people, sincerely shut your ass up. That's all I can say. Nobody likes you and you are insufferable. That's all I can say about that. Either way though, what I was more so getting at after I went on that mini tangent right there is Bungie needs to be very careful about the repercussions of making some of these guns that were already very, very strong again. Because think about it. Pulse rifles, like I said, they're going to be back to their former glory. But even beyond that, you have very strong weapons that are getting even better, like an Igneous Hammer, a Cremil's Dagger. You put enhanced precision instrument on these guns with a 6% damage buff, and congratulations, you just gave a 120 hand cannon that already had absolutely absurd range even more range to work with. Oh yeah, and if you thought it couldn't get any better from there, well, if you combine that with something like Radiant, you may not even need Radiant. I'm gonna be honest, like, somebody can do the math for me in the comments below, But if you 3-tap the first person and then you switch to a target immediately after and headshot him twice, there's a very good chance you are going to 2-tap that guy. I know for a fact if you have Radiant, you will 2-tap him. But even if you don't, you might get a 2-tap. And that is definitely a problem considering how good Precision Instrument 120s already are. And it just may be an absolute shit show for about a month, if I'm being honest. And you know what? As I'm making this video, I'm kind of curious as to which exotics are just going to be absolutely broken after the change. Like, is Ace of Spades going to go back to being a 1-head 2-body with Mori? Because that's going to be gross. Y'all are going to see a lot of Ace of Spades if that's the case. Like I said, I'm not going to do all the math off the top of my head. I'm just kind of putting 2 and 2 together. I know Cerberus +1 is another one I can think of that might be disgusting, because giving that gun any sort of damage buff is just a recipe for disaster. I mean, Jade Rabbit could be a little bit gross with the 2-head 1-bodies. I mean, I don't really know. Okay, actually, as I'm looking at my collections off screen right now, probably the number one thing that jumps out to me is Lodestar. Playing against Lodestar with somebody that has a max weapon stat is just going to be the most miserable shit ever, and I already know it, man. Like, I don't know how I didn't think of that as, like, the first option. That's not going to be fun. I mean, Aegir Scepter's probably not going to be fun either. I mean, pretty much any SMG is also probably not going to be fun. I mean, Ariana's probably won't do anything more. Le Monarch, I probably won't change anything. Maybe Wave Splitter. I mean, I don't know. There's so many different guns where it's like, it's hard to tell exactly, like, what I think will get a lot better. I mean, maybe Hawkmoon could, like, it could kind of change up, like, the amount of paracausals you need to do certain things. Maybe Touch of Malice could have some, you know, some unique... Probably not. You know what I mean? I'm just kind of grasping at straws here because I'm very, very curious. And you know, if you guys do know about any exotic that is just going to be broken, please do let me know in the comments, especially if you've done the math. If you've done the math and you can prove it, let me know. If you haven't done the math and you just speculating, I mean, still let me know because I'm kind of interested. You know, I might need to use that for like a month. You know what I'm saying? Because like if everybody's using the good stuff, I got to use the good stuff too. Anyways, though, I guess there is one more thing I want to talk about in today's video before we go ahead and wrap it up. And that is the positives from the 6% buff. There's not a lot of them. If I'm being completely honest, I was struggling to find anything, but 6% on pellet shotguns could be good. That's about the only thing I can think of, because pellets have been terrible for a minute now, to the point where basically everybody is using slugs in PvP. I don't remember the last time I actually died to a pellet unless the guy was literally barrel stuffing me. But yeah, I mean, it's mainly just slugs, body shot cleanups and such. We desperately need something for pellets, and maybe that 6% buff is the answer. But then again, I mean, thinking about it, it's not just pellets getting that. Also, you know, rapid fire fusions are getting 6%. So pellets may be even more poverty. Hey, like I said, maybe I'm also grasping at straws here. I'm just trying to find, you know, any sort of positive. But yeah, that is pretty much going to be everything I wanted to say in today's video. Like I said before, if there is anything I missed or any weapon that is going to be absolutely juiced, let me know in the comments below, because I am very curious. And I need that, you know, I need that little bit of insider information. As always, though, if you guys did end up enjoying the video, I would greatly appreciate it if you left a like and a comment letting me know what you thought, as well as a subscription on the channel, you know, if you did really enjoy it. But I'll catch y'all on the next one. It's been Gravely. Peace.